Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the RightTouch Rundown. I am Willie Sublet III, founder of RightTouch Solutions, and today we are continuing our riveting discussion on bylaws, specifically how to adapt them as your organization grows. Now, in week one, if you remember, we talked about why bylaws matter, followed by week two, covering Willie's top 7 non negotiable sections of your bylaws to really help you build that foundation. But what happens when your organization grows up, grows out, or you shift your focus? Then suddenly those bylaws feel like they're holding you back instead of guiding you forward. Now, feel free to pause right now, go watch week one and two, two and one, however you like to do it, or continue with me. It's your prerogative. It is your YouTube channel. Keep going if you like. Do what you like to do. Let's get into it. Bylaws are not meant to be static. Let me start by just saying this. Your organization is not frozen in time. As we talked about earlier, your bylaws are not written in stone. Your mission evolves. It should evolve. Your team should evolve. Your community needs will always evolve. So that means your bylaws should evolve. Quick example to put some realization to it. Let's say you started out as a grassroots organization, a team, just raising awareness about the very important dangers and necessities around food deserts. But now, a few years later, you're operating a full-scale food pantry across multiple counties, maybe even securing contracts with local schools, city partnerships, organizations. That means there has been a shift in the scope, structure, and liability needs of your organization, meaning your bylaws need to reflect those three changes. It needs to be reviewed and match your new reality. So your structure should evolve with your mission, not lagging behind it. That means it needs to be happening concurrently. Willie, why is it crucial to keep my bylaws current? That's a good question, Willie. Thank you for asking. Let me be clear. This is not just about housekeeping. If you watched any of these videos, you know we're not just doing things to do it. This is about your credibility, your governance, and your legal standing. Outdated bylaws can create confusion during decision making. It will limit your board's flexibility, disqualify you from certain funding, and we all know nonprofits need that funding, and put your organization at risk in a legal audit. Somebody can come after you. Keeping those bylaws current ensures that your mission is protected, that your structure is accurate, you're strategic, and you have a good defense. This is not just talking about good practices. We are talking about risk mitigation, risk management, and risk awareness. So we're going to do a quick 5 signs that it's time to review those bylaws. Whether it's time for a review, you will look for these 5 signs. Just quick 5, because you know I can talk all day. We're going to do 5. Number 1, you are regularly doing things your bylaws do not cover or outright contradict. So now that you're reviewing your bylaws regularly, good job, y'all, you may start to notice gaps between what's written and what's happening. Maybe you are approving budgets by email, but your bylaws only mention in-person votes. Maybe you're forming new committees or task forces, but your bylaws say nothing about how to create those committees. If you're consistently making exceptions or creating workarounds or rigging, if you will, that means your structure is out of alignment with your operation. Quickest telltale sign. If you got to make a workaround, let's just make it a standard. Your board composition, number 2, your board composition has changed significantly. So when you started, you had your 3 founding board members. You're just trying to get it going, following that 1023, getting your rules set for your 501c3. You just put 3 people down. And now you have a full board. You have officers. There's term cycles. There's rotations. You need to rethink how you define those roles. What is quorum? Because quorum, which is the needed number of people to get things done, may have been 5 at one time, but now you have 26 people at the table. You got to redo what quorum means, redo what succession looks like, because you always want to be looking forward. That board member sitting across from you may not be there in a couple of years. Are you prepared for their exit? Number three, your programming has expanded or shifted. You may be working with funders or government contracts that require different documentation, different levels of compliance or structure. If your mission has grown, your governance should be as well. Number four, your meeting rules or voting procedures, they just feel a little bit outdated. If you do not know how to call a vote, record a decision, or whether virtual meetings count, those are due for an update. I'm a big fan of Robert's Rules of Order. Make sure you have that inside of that. If your bylaws only talk about voting in person and doesn't talk about using GroupMe or using Zoom or Teams or impromptu three-way call, put that in there. That way, when you make those decisions in those different forums, it actually means something. It actually matters. Otherwise, that whole three-way call meant nothing. Y'all got to hang out. Lastly, number five, decision-making is delayed or blocked because the bylaws are unclear. If board members are hesitant or confused or divided on, well, the bylaw says this, well, it really doesn't say that, but it means this, it is time to get ahead of that confusion. Yes, you may make it because that confusion happened. Get ahead of the next confusion. Don't just be stagnant. Now, how to update without causing drama. Updating bylaws can feel intimidating, but it does not have to be dramatic. Here's a quick approach to have it with clarity and calmness. You want to assign a point person or a governance committee. This should not be the one person doing everything alone, but somebody or a small group must lead the charge. A catalyst must start from something, someone, some group. They'll provide a timeline, there'll be draft updates, and they'll ensure the process stays on track. Do not wait until you're in the middle of a conflict to build this standing board structure. Go ahead and do it now. I want you to already know that we are going to evolve. This organization is going to grow. It's going to be profitable. It's going to assist the community in whatever needs you're trying to do, whether it's providing for a food desert, whether it's underwater basket weaving. I want you to be the best. So prepare now. Break that thing down into sections. Don't tackle your entire bylaws at one session. It's too long. Even if it's just 5 articles, break it up. There are other things you need to be worried about. But if you keep that inside of the mindset of your board, you're always going to be thinking about what should be in there. Start with the most important and urgent parts like voting rules or board terms, conflict policies, and then review each section with intention. Don't just read it through and move on to your next agenda items. It is very important. Just put a few sections on your agenda each time. This allows for thoughtfulness instead of feeling overwhelmed and just saying, okay, let's move on to the next thing. Do it with intention. Document what needs to be changed and then why. Avoid just those red lines to your board. Don't give your board members a document, whether printed or in Word, with a bunch of red lines. Instead, present it with intention. Here's the current language. Here's the proposed revisions, and then there's the why. I am a strong believer if people understand your why, they can get on the bus with you. But if you don't tell them your why, and they're just getting here what I want you to do, you're not engaging them in conversation. And your board is part of the organization. It's not yours. You have to work together. So how do you be cooperative? Let them know why we're doing it. This builds that context, it minimizes confusion, and opens the door for honest discussion. So what you did before you got to the board meeting, you had these wonderful amendments we need to do, it's going to make our organization better. Now you're able to give it to them. They can talk about it back and forth and realize, oh, I didn't think about that piece. Sometimes you have blind sites. That's why when you're coming up and you're doing peer review in classes, which we all hated, there comes in a point where it's actually necessary. You know, those group projects that nobody wants to do, this actually helps you. You get those things that you don't really see because you were so focused on what you were doing. Lastly, you want to engage the full board in the process. Don't do it by yourself. You need those buy-ins, that understanding, that confidence for that final version. Invite questions, invite concerns, make room for clarity, because when it's time to vote and you're in front of your members or you're in front of your full board and you're doing that vote, the time for questions is over with. You need to be ready for those questions, not getting ready. We talked about that in week 1. Let people ask questions. Let people sit in. Bring in outside voices. It's all right. If it feels rushed, people will resist when necessary changes are needed. So don't create avenues for pushback when it's not needed. Don't feel rushed. And the only way to feel not rushed is to prepare. Again, stay ready. Don't get ready. And then here's the kicker. Remember that section we talked about last week when you added that, Willie's top 7 sections about amendments? Use it. Whatever your current bylaws say about making changes, you got to follow that process. If it requires 2/3 votes of the board members or every time the moon turns to the side, make sure that's happening. If it requires written notice or a timeline, you have to honor that. Otherwise, everything after is invalid. Bylaws should not be changed on a whim, but they absolutely can change with integrity and intention. You need to make sure there's transparency and access. Your bylaws should not be a secret, okay? Let's not get over and overlook visibility. Your bylaws should not live in some forgotten folder within the ethers of your shared drive. Every board member should know where to find them, how to request a copy, and when was the last time it was reviewed. And yes, it is the law in most states. As we talked about before, we want no trouble with the law. Uncle Sam is always looking for a reason to act up. Don't give him a reason. It is the law in most states that bylaws are made available to board members and, in many cases, organization members upon request. So let me say that again. It is not just good leadership. It is legally required in many jurisdictions. Please pay attention to that. So to make it easy, write it into your board policy. Bylaws will be available to any board or organizational member within a reasonable time frame, typically within 7 to 14 days of request. That's a free line. You can put that in there. I'm not going to even charge you for it. Use that line, put it in your board policy, put it in your bylaws somewhere, and you're good to go. If you're a membership-based organization, this becomes even more important. If your members have voting rights, they have to be notified when amendments are proposed. They have to be allowed to submit changes or amendments at any time. And they must have full visibility into the final version. You cannot talk about equity, inclusion on the front end and then have governance locked away in the back room. Where do you do that at? That is not how it's supposed to look. If your bylaws are particularly long, like this video, or layered, do not feel pressured to revise everything in 1 month. Space it out. Put it on your board calendar for the year. That way, they already know there's going to be at least one board type we're going to talk about. In Q1, we're going to review governance structure. In Q2, we're going to talk about voting procedures. In Q3, we're going to be reviewing committees and conflicts. And in Q4, we're reviewing amendments and accountability processes. This gives that board time to think, ask questions, and grow together. Because you may have board members who don't know a bunch about those different sections. Now they have time to Google or Chat GPT. I'm not here to judge nobody. Give them time to have that ready. Go to the library for those like me. I love going to the library and looking things up. So it gives them an opportunity to really have a good discussion about what you're talking about and how it ties to the why of the organization. All right, let's recap this up and get on out of here. Bylaws are not just your origin story. It is your operational backbone. And like any other strong backbone, it requires maintenance and care. Please do not wait until conflict or confusion forces that change. Because again, remember, it's like going to that grocery store when you're hungry. Build in a review rhythm and create room for feedback because it only leads the process with clarity and kindness. Don't just overwhelm people. We got to get all this done. We got to get all this done. Be mindful. Think ahead. Be proactive and forecast. Push that out so you can have the full buy-in and be known as a leader that leads with kindness and clarity and not urgency. All right, we did it, friends. So if this helped you, as I always say, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone else who's building something meaningful. Do not gatekeep this good strategy now. And if your organization is long due for a governance review, or if you just need a second set of eyes on yours, visit me at RightTouchSolutions.com, and I am happy to take some time out with you, sit with you, and go through it with you. I'm happy to be, I call it your silent board member. I'm not coming to your board meetings, but I will work with you and your team to get a structure together. Next week, we're going to talk about internal communications and compliance, or maybe we're going to talk about a little bit more board structure. We'll see based on your comments. Because, as you know, your structure is only as strong as the team's ability to use it. So there's no point in having a structure and nobody knows how it works. Until then, my friends, remember, mission moves best with what? Structure. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.